your
No, I
life?
really didn't want to do another medical drama.
Yeah.
I really, really, really didn't want to do another one.
Yeah, okay.
I'd done 70 episodes, I think it was, of China Beach and 332 ERs, and we did Third Watch.
So many hours of
And
television.
that's a lot of writing, and I was writing a lot of them, or a fair amount of them. So I just had said to Scott and Noah when they came in with the idea, I said, guys, I don't really want to do it. If you want to do it, I'll help and I'll direct if you'd like me to direct or help you produce it.
Yep.
But only on the promise that I never, ever again have to write one more word of my medical dialogue. And I have stuck to it. And
you've stuck to that so far?
I'm not writing it. And Scott and Noah and the whole writing team, Joe and everybody have done a fantastic job. So I haven't had to.
Welcome to the Warner Brothers Lot. I'm Jonathon Buckley, and this is A Lot More. Our guest today has spent nearly 40 years creating some of the most beloved television to ever grace our screens, from Shameless to The West Wing and now The Pitt. He's a showrunner, a director, and a writer, and honestly, there are very few people who have contributed more to the landscape of television. It's an honour to welcome John Wells. John, thank you so much for coming in. I mean, this is your stomping ground, the Warner Brothers Lot. You've been here for, am I correct in saying, around 40 years?
40 years on June 1st.
On June 1st.
Yeah,
do you have a celebration planned?
I hope not. I hope nobody's going to celebrate anything.
Really? I feel that's
yeah.
a vibe. You should get like a ring or a plaque or something for that kind of...
Name a brick or something. Yeah, exactly.
Name a brick. It's hard for me to, just doing the research, sort of to picture it all, like the amount of work that you've done. Do you ever look back and just think to yourself, wow, this is...
I don't really, we're just very fortunate. I sort of look at us as having a repertory company, like a theater.
Yeah.
And we just make things. And so there's a new season and you make new things and you remember the old ones, but it's not, I don't get nostalgic about them.
Okay.
I do kind of walk around and try to see if there's a sound stage that I haven't shot on. There are 40 of them.
Have you found one?
I think there's one that I actually have never shot on because they're the 3 camera stages, like where Friends was. But yeah. I don't think we ever shot on there.
Got you. Okay. You mentioned the theater because you got your bachelor degree in drama.
Yeah, at Carnegie Mellon in Pittsburgh.
In Pittsburgh, which is an interesting tie-in to... Were you in that to become an actor, to become a writer, to become...
No, I went into school as a production design student, a stage manager and designer.
Yeah.
And then got interested while I was there in directing. And the school was kind enough, as I'd finished a lot of my undergraduate stuff, to allow me to move into the directing program and direct quite a bit. And that's kind of how I ended up doing that. But all for the theater. It was all for the theater.
All for the love of the theater.
Yeah.
Did you, in school, were you a fan of theater? Did you do drama?
You mean as I was growing up?
Yes.
Although I grew up in Arapahoe County, Colorado, outside of Denver, so there wasn't a lot of it. There were some dinner theaters that I worked in, which was great, where you would do Brigadoon or whatever, and everybody would be there eating their roast beef and mashed potatoes and at the same time that you were trying to do it,
When you explained to people that you were heading off to go to drama school, what was that met with?
Well, I took a year after high school because my parents were supportive of the idea, but they thought maybe it was just that I enjoyed hanging out with my friends in high school. So they suggested I try and work professionally. I'm not sure that they hoped that I would fail miserably if I was doing it, and that's when I was working in a couple of different dinner theaters and traveled around the country with one called the Windmill Dinner Theaters doing shows. And but I still loved it, and so I got into Carnegie Mellon. I hadn't been accepted the first time, and I was on the wait list the second time, and they called me a few weeks before the fall semester started and said that I was accepted.
That would have been exciting, I imagine.
It was a big transition.
Yeah. I love hearing the story, though, of how you start and then you kind of find your way into something different and then something different again.
We started a small theater off campus, and that wasn't greeted with a lot of enthusiasm by the drama school faculty at the time.
Yeah. Do you have any contact with, and we'll get off of this. I love it. I went to drama school myself.
No, I'm
so
still very involved at Carnegie Mellon and have tried to support their directing program and things over the years. So I go back at least once every 2 years and do like lectures and kind of answer questions and try and do some of those sort of things.
Any classmates you still in contact with or have?
Yeah, a few that are around. Yeah. And some of them have done, extremely well. Holly Hunter was a year behind me. I directed her in plays when we were there. And Sherry Jones was a year ahead of me. She's won a bunch of Tonys and things. So, yeah, definitely.
It took a while, though, before you actually got your first start in the biz the biz, right?
Well, in the television business, because I
Yeah.
came out to USC. I was doing plays in New York at like small plays as a stage manager mostly, and then I came out to Los Angeles to go to USC for graduate school in the film department, which was very small at the time. It wasn't the film department that it is now. And while I was there, I started to write a little bit because we had to take a writing class. The man who taught the class worked for Columbia, and he said, you're not bad. Maybe you should do a little bit more of this. So that was the amount of encouragement that I got.
You're not bad.
Yeah.
Give it a crack.
And then 6 years of trying to kind of follow up as a writer, I actually got my first I got some jobs before that, but my first big job was here at Warner Brothers.
Would you consider that like the first time you got paid for it? Like,
It was the first time that I was able to feel a little bit of financial security. Before that, it was like you need option something for $5,000, like a screenplay or whatever, like bits and pieces. And I was still building houses at the time. I was a carpenter, and so I was pounding nails.
You've got skills on the tools.
Yeah, I still have my tools too. You never know. You never know when you're going to have to do something.
We've got a running tally at my house. I did a little bit of work on the tools as well. And every time I do a job, I'm like, just add that to the tab. We're saving a lot of money here. So it's nice to have that those skills.
Well, that's my weekend relaxation as I handyman around the house. And there are certain things I don't do. I don't do a lot of electrical where I might get zapped. But
you learned your lesson a couple of times.
I can do most of the rest of it. Yeah.
That is so cool. All right. So China Beach was like the big one, right?
I worked on, I've never really counted. I should go back and count 6 or 7 shows. The system used to be different for writers at Warner Brothers. You got hired, basically you were on a weekly, and they were called overhead deals. Now the overhead deals tend to be for people who are kind of at the top of their career, but at that time, it was for a lot of beginning writers, and then you just got assigned shows. So I think I worked on 4 shows my first year at Warner Brothers because you would just get a phone call, go over to whatever.
Yeah.
And it was a great experience because I worked on a lot of different kind of shows, and most of them very unsuccessful, but you learn more working on the shows that aren't working. And then I did some sitcoms and some one-camera comedy, and they didn't know exactly what to do with me, and they asked me to go over to China Beach and lighten it up, be the comedy writer. So I immediately didn't want to be the comedy writer at China Beach, so I wrote some of the darkest stuff that anybody ever wrote for China Beach. But the show worked, and so that was the start of me being able to work on better shows.
Do you remember how you felt back in the beginning? Was it stressful? Was it easy? Sometimes when things were meant to be, it could just feel like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, well, I was very happy to not have to dodge my landlord anymore on rent day, because there were times when, I was stretching it out a lot. I just was so amazed to, drive through the gates. I still am. I still actually really enjoy kind of coming into the lot, like driving
I wanted to ask
lot.
you that because it seems a common thing.
That doesn't go away.
I get the same now. I come through and I'm really just like clicking my heels. I have a chat to the guys at the gate. They're all so nice, the guys at the gate. And there's something about this location. It's so storied, and to be a part of it. I'm glad to hear that someone of your stature feels the same.
Yeah, you don't ever, or at least I have never really gotten over the sort of sense that I still get to do this, frankly. I mean, you sort of always assume that this is going to be the last one, and, or the last thing that you do, or the last time you're going to drive through the gate. So, and I've been through a lot of mergers, so it's had that feeling before.
Yeah, so you've been in this point before. I want to say it's unusual to go from successful show to successful show to successful show. Is there a recipe that you're following? Is there an idea that you have?
No, I mean, you're very kind to leave out the unsuccessful shows that were in between the successful shows.
I was going to ask about those later, maybe.
Yeah. There are a bunch of them. I keep kind of a hallway of posters of the shows that didn't work that I have to walk through every day to go to the bathroom to remind me. Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, because it's hard to do. This is hard to do. You need a lot of talented people to work with, and and you never really know. You don't know which ones are going to be successful, and everyone you're hopeful for and you're working hard on, and some of them work and some of them don't. So I would say I've been very fortunate to win some awards, but I've lost a lot more awards than I've won by a factor of about 3.
Yeah.
And that's not quite that. I would say we're probably 50-50 on shows that work and don't work, but they don't work all the time, including last year. So,
is there one in your history that you was certain was going to be a roaring success and was shocked to find out that it didn't go?
I'm never really certain that they're going to succeed, but they're ones that I've really liked and thought I hoped an audience would find. And we did a show called Smith years ago for CBS that was too dark for them. They were very honest about it when we turned it in, but it had a great cast, and I was always surprised that didn't go forward just on the strength of the cast. So.
Okay. And what was the log line for that? What was the idea?
It was a crime show about bad guys, and it was just a little early for bad guys on television at CBS.
Gotcha.
They liked the good guys at CBS. But it had a great cast. We had Ray Liotta and Virginia Madsen and Johnny Lee Miller, and it was a really good group.
I get the sense that you spend a lot of time obviously thinking about cast and working alongside actors, kind of more as it like as an ensemble kind of thing. Is that?
Well, I love actors, and I grew up really admiring actors. I mean, that's really my. Okay. I just enjoy working with people who are talented, and I don't find it to be demanding. I find it to be exciting. And so we spend a lot of time on casting and a lot of time making certain that the people that we're working with are interested in the same kind of experience that we are, which is sort of ensemble theater experiences for actors.
Yeah.
The shows primarily that we do are big family shows, whether it be Pitt, which is a family that works in or The West Wing or ER or Third Watch, Shameless, which was literally a family show. And so the people have to spend a lot of time with each other. They have to be generous and open and willing to concede storylines to others. We really don't do shows that have sort of single leads. Mm-hmm. And so you want to gather actors that are excited about it. The Pitt's the perfect example. The show is shot at a very fast pace, and we use primarily actors from the theater who are used because it's almost a live performance.
Yeah, it's a choreography.
And the choreography.
I heard the term trauma choreography.
And we have dancers. Catherine Lanasso was a dancer, and they can fit into that, and we are very careful about that. Like people who freeze up in these sort of environments, it's hard for them. So,
from a technical perspective, as an actor, like there's a lot of things to keep an eye on, a lot of moving parts. And
you have to come in completely prepared. Like you have to be, it's like a musical performance. You have to know the song.
Yeah.
You can't be trying to learn it as you go. So because there's so many other technical elements that you're dealing with, and it's a movement the whole time. Mm-hmm. Everybody's moving and in place. We don't do any marks.
Yeah.
So we block out sort of where we think you're going to go, and the cameras follow. So it's a big dance with the cameras.
Just back to casting slightly, you've created some stars, some mega stars.
Well, I would say they've created themselves by doing good work on shows. We try to give them good scripts to do it. And, and we're very careful about trying to hire actors who we believe are going to be able to do that work.
I guess I'm saying I feel like
I don't want to take responsibility
totally.
for wonderful performances that we were lucky to benefit from.
Got you.
Yeah.
But you have seen those qualities in those people, and you've found those qualities and allowed them and given them the vehicle to go and do that. Is there a trick to that? Do you have a something you're looking for when it comes to casting? Because even with the Pit, you've really gone far and wide and cast a wide web to people all over the world.
But we cast actors.
Yeah.
I mean, we cast people who have training, who have craft. Coming out of a theater program, you're watching, and when you're in the part of the directing part of the theater programs, I took acting. I was a terrible actor. I would never wanted to be an actor. I was terrible. I knew I was terrible.
Did you tread the boards ever?
Only when they needed somebody to open the door and say, hey, the person's down there. But I was never, because I knew I was bad. And but you also take movement, you take dance, you take voice, you take scene study. And so all of that craft, that learning I use all the time. And I'm looking for people who have the same interest in craft as performers. But as for everybody, the directors, everybody that we work with. So we cast people who can really act. And I know that sounds like obvious.
Yeah.
But it's not nearly as obvious as you might think.
Yeah.
Simply because what we do specifically in television is very demanding. The pace is very demanding. The stamina that's necessary to do it is very demanding. And I know we sort of see actors showing up at award shows and things, but what you don't really see is, 5 o'clock in the morning with 8 pages of dialogue you have to do that day on the move while you're balancing props.
Yeah.
And that's why, people like Allison Janney, who came out of the theater, Brad Whitford, who came out of the theater, Noah, who has created theater companies that he's done. Jeremy Allen White, who was, came out of the high school theater program in New York City. We hired him right out of that program. So we're looking for people who have craft. And if you do that, you're kind of ahead of the game a little bit. And it leads sometimes to disagreements with executives who are on occasion more interested in someone's looks than in their abilities. And, we're trying to find both.
Yep.
But at the same time, the abilities have to come before the looks.
Do you remember Noah Wyle and casting him? And
very much so.
You do?
Yeah.
Was that a traditional casting process for Noah?
Very traditional casting process in which Noah came in kind of late, and we had another actor, wonderful actor who goes unnamed but has gone on to do very well, we thought was in the part, and he came in very late and just brought him back 2 or 3 times, and he was different every time and better every time and had new ideas. And I said, there's somebody who's really an actor. So he ended up getting the job at the last minute. Yeah. He was 22, I think, at the time. Yeah.
That's a kid at that point.
Yeah, he was waiting tables in West Hollywood.
I love that. And so to look back now, that relationship has now gone on for
my entire professional career, basically, and his. I mean, it's a little scary because I used to look at the monitor and see a 22-year-old looking back at me. I look in the monitor now and I see a very handsome 54-year-old man looking back at me. What do I look like on this side of the monitor? Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I was looking for a compliment, but no, it's the aging. You definitely notice it.
It seems like you've gathered good people around you and kept them to a degree.
As much as we can. I mean, we don't try and restrict anybody from doing other things. If they have other ambitions, they go and do it. And then oftentimes they come back and say, let's do something else. I got an idea that I think you might be great to bring this to. So
does that make working easier? Does it expedite things knowing, for instance, like I know how this person works. This is a safe bet.
Every show you're going to have a number of people when you put it together who you haven't worked with before. So having a number of people that you have worked with before means that you have more time to explore a new relationship with others. So we're always trying to make X number of people that we worked with before who we know and mix that in with people that we haven't worked with before. So like on the Pitt as an example, knowing that Noah Wyle was going to be number 1 on the call sheet, I know that not only is he a wonderful actor and a fantastic human being, he's also a great leader. He sets a tone on the set for everybody else and demands a certain level of professionalism. So, in directing and kind of producing the show with Scott, you know already that you've got that part covered. You're not dealing with a number 1 on the call sheet that's, you're going to have to figure out how you work together. How well does that do? And then we brought in Mike Hisrick, who we've worked with for years, to line produce the show, and our production designer who we've worked with for a long time. And so you start to know that you've got areas, Nina.
Oh, my gosh. So we were very fortunate just the other day to go do a set tour with Nina.
Which is fantastic.
What a
We've
ray
worked
of
together
sunshine.
for years. But it means you're not worried about those things. So there are other things that you're adding in, new elements that you don't know about, and it gives you more time to create those relationships. When at the beginning of most executive producers' careers, when they're doing their first shows, one of the real difficulties is that you're trying to bring together several hundred people on very short notice and create a community. And that's why a lot of shows really struggle at the beginning. It's just hard to create a community with that many new people that you haven't worked with before. So on ER, as an example, a number of people came over from China Beach that we'd worked together with, including Mimi Leader and Lydia Woodward and a number of the directors and other people. And so that allows you the time as an executive producer to focus on creating the collaboration that you want with the people you haven't worked with before.
Yeah. Does it change slightly bringing shows to life over the years? Because you've been doing this for a while now in the modern era. Has it shifted slightly? Are there new hurdles to overcome to get something off the ground?
Well, it's much more difficult to create awareness of a show in this kind of crowded marketplace where, when I began, there were 3 networks, and then there were 4. And there was sort of a rhythm to it. So getting people to know when your show was coming on was very specific. You were going to get a certain amount of publicity on that channel for that time period. You knew there was going to be a certain kind of support. Now so many things kind of just drop onto one of the streamers that it's much more difficult. I mean, I think that the marketing and publicity people have huge jobs now. Much different than what was before. And there are a couple of them sitting over here, and I think they would both nod and say, like, yeah, it is a much more challenging environment to get people to see your show, to get into the conversation.
Yeah.
Is much tougher.
And there's new generations of people that are out there now. Maybe the Pitt, for instance, could be their first medical drama.
Which is odd, but yes, I think that's
like,
probably true. It's kind of a new audience.
Could be a whole new audience as well. Was there a reason you gravitated so much towards medical drama in your life?
I really didn't want to do another medical drama.
Yeah.
I really, really, really didn't want to do another one. I'd done 70 episodes, I think it was, of China Beach and 332 ERs, and we did Third Watch.
So many hours of television.
That's a lot of writing, and I was writing a lot of them, or a fair amount of them. So I just had said to Scott and Noah when they came in with the idea, I said, guys, I don't really want to do it. If you want to do it, I'll help and I'll direct if you'd like me to direct or help you produce it.
Yep.
But only on the promise that I never, ever again have to write one more word of my medical dialogue. And I have stuck to it. And
you've stuck to that so far?
I'm not writing it. And Scott and Noah and the whole writing team, Joe and everybody have done a fantastic job. So I haven't had to.
It's a remarkable skill. It's such complex dialogue, and watching it as well, the audience, obviously, half the time we don't even really know what's being said when we're talking about the medical side of things. How important is it for the actors to know what they're talking about?
It's essential that the actors know what they're talking about. But what's really at the center of those scenes is what's the objective, for the actors, and what's going on in the scene. What are they feeling? What are they thinking about? So that's all really central to it, because the audience doesn't need to know what all the medical dialogue means. They just need to understand what's happening. And what I say to people is you can turn the sound off on the Pit and understand what's happening in the scene, because but the actors absolutely have to understand what they're doing. And we do, the actors get the scripts, then we do read-throughs, then they get detailed explanations of things from the doctors who are on the show. We have a number of doctors who work on the show. And then the day before or several days before, we also do medical rehearsals on anything that's more complicated. So by the time we get to it, they absolutely understand what it is they're doing.
It just seems like such a massive undertaking and so challenging, because you mentioned before some of the shots that you've got, they're quite long shots as well, complex dialogue, trauma choreography, lots of moving parts. I always feel for the day actor that comes on and has to say like one line.
It's the worst.
In that scenario.
Horrific, yeah.
Like the pressure on that actor.
There's a lot of
to
pressure.
not just chew up their words. Does that happen?
It happens.
Often?
We actually do try not to give them the last line in the scene.
Is that a thing consciously?
Yeah, it's a thing. Yeah, we used to on ER. When we were still shooting on film, we learned early on that you don't want to get to the end of a long shot that's shot on film and then give a line to a poor actor who's just shown up.
Yeah,
it's a bad idea, because then you got to do the entire take. You got to take the mag, the whole reel of film off. You got to start over. It's like, but yeah, the one group that goes very, I think, unheralded on the show is the AD staff, the assistant director staff, because we have hundreds of people on the set at all times, and they are everybody who's on the set, all the background artists, whether they be paying patients or whether they're medical personnel in the scene, have a complete understanding of what they're there for, what their patient is. It's all laid out so that every minute during each hour, are they getting their meal? When are they expecting? Are they waiting for an X-ray? Do they have pain for everybody? And all of the moving parts of the background nurses and technicians are all laid out. So it's a huge team down there in the assistant directors group that's keeping all that moving. And when you direct, you kind of drop into the middle of that with your speaking cast, your regulars, and move through that kind of complex world that they've established.
And you've got to keep track of everything, because you've decided to go with the 15 hours of a shift.
We shoot the show in total continuity. So we shoot the first page of every script on the first day. We don't break continuity through the entire season.
So you just continue on.
Yeah,
Does that make it? I feel like, well, from a performance perspective, I feel like that would make things easier because you know sort of where
it's
you're
certainly
at.
really helpful for the actors, but it would be impossible for the background continuity of all of the who's moving where and the physical things that, because the entire set is a hot set the entire time. We'll start shooting on June 15th or something this year, and it'll be a hot set until January 10th. Like, everything stays exactly where it was at the end of every night, and we come back in and just keep going.
Keep on going. Yeah, I feel like there's real pluses to that. But doing the 15-hour, I was thinking on this, the 15-hour day, there's also some pretty big limitations on that when it comes to story, because, for instance, there was a kind of a fledgling love interest in the first series. I think it was between Shabana's character and Mateo, I think was his name. And I was like, oh.
I think there was a work fascination.
Was it a work fascination? Okay. And I was thinking, oh, I wonder where this goes. But
nowhere. It's one day.
It's one day. I'm not going to get the first date. I'm not going to get them having kids together.
No. I mean, it's one of the things we discussed when Scott and Noah really wanted to do the show. Is one of the attractions for me being involved was that we wouldn't be doing any medical melodrama in the sense that we're not going to have a wedding. We're not going to have, anybody in the closet who can't control themselves because they're so attracted to each other. It's just about following these healthcare workers, on their very difficult days in an urban and hospital environment that's under tremendous stress.
Yeah.
It's just really come over the shoulder and follow us and see what they really go through, which is why, some audience members talk about it being a little tough to watch, that there's things that are kind of, are tough to watch. But we want people to understand when you're waiting for 8 hours outside in the waiting room with your, broken finger or whatever happened to your bagel cut, that this is what the people, when they come in and they're like into the room and ask you how you're doing, what they just saw.
Yeah.
Right. So you really understand what the people are going through who have to take care of us in these urban trauma centers.
I think you've done that spectacularly well. I think the medical community agrees with that. You've had a lot of high praise. It is difficult to watch. And, personally, I've had many times where I'm like, whoa, that was exactly the way it was with, my dad or something. It can be quite challenging. Is there considerations that you have to take into that, or are you like, no, we're going to stick with hyper-realism and just as it is?
We stick with the hyper-realism as it is, and so that you understand what the people are going through, what the workers are going through. A lot of the impetus was Noah having heard from a lot of the people that we knew we had worked with during the ER days, who were the frontline workers during COVID.
Yep.
And the PTSD that was there, the sense that everybody was trying to move on and they hadn't had an opportunity to move on. And so we really wanted to show the intensity of what these jobs are. And one of the most, one of the most satisfying things that we've heard is from medical professionals, emergency room professionals who have sent us letters and emails and said, like, I've been able to show my family what it is that I do that I can't tell them.
Yeah.
I can't actually come home and tell them that a child died who drowned in a pool and I was with them trying to resuscitate him for 3 hours.
Yeah.
There's no context for it. And you don't want to come home when your kids are doing their homework and talk about that. So I think that's been very gratifying to hear people say, now my family really understands what I do.
Exactly, yeah.
What I do. And why sometimes I'm,
the way that
happy and sometimes I'm a little emotionally drained.
You've been writing to the Times a lot. I guess that's kind of obvious, but when I watch the series, I see that, obviously socially to the Times, technologically, like little things. Like I watch people wearing like Aura rings, which is what people are wearing right now. You're really writing to the Times and very currently as well. So when you're shooting the Pitt, have you written the full 15 episodes ahead of time?
Well, all 15 aren't written ahead of time. We usually have about 6 or 7 that are done when we start shooting or are close to being done, but they get revised throughout based on it. And sometimes you really can't. I mean, we have a story, an ICE story about some ICE agents bringing in an injured person. And we were trying to be very careful about that story and present both sides, and we had lots of conversations about it. About, a month after we finished shooting it, what happened in Minneapolis happened, and suddenly we realized, like, oh, we were, like, really. I think people may watch it and go, like, oh, you guys are going easy on this. But you can only be so current. But most of our stories and the things that people are talking about come from what they're doing right now in the beginning of the season 3. They just had a residence night when they met with a whole bunch of residents from UCLA in emergency medicine. We have a nurses' night. We hear from people. We have numerous doctors who work on the show, and they're just telling us what's happening that day. We hear from hospital workers all over the country, and so it's really an attempt to simply document what they actually see and what they're talking about.
There's so many stories packed into each episode, but one whole season.
Yeah.
Is there a structure to how these topics are chosen? Is there a way to...
There are lengthy discussions about them and an attempt to make certain that we're doing something that is current and isn't likely to be overwhelmed by events, which can happen. But also just to kind of hear different issues usually that somebody has told us about. A recent one this year was just about the difficulty for anybody who's hearing impaired or deaf in the emergency rooms, and there's a story about that, about the difficulty providing proper services and how under-equipped people are to really do it. And it's a small story, and she's not dying, and she just has been looking at her phone from the wrong direction, but the frustrations with just trying to get some help over a number of hours is very real. And someone sent me a friend of mine sent me something they'd seen online where a man had filmed their husband, who's deaf, watching the episode, who like stood up in front of the television and was like, yes, this, and was signing like, this is exactly what happened to me. And so those are very gratifying when that happens.
Are there any issues that you're particularly passionate about highlighting? I know that we had one of the cast members in here was very passionate about the health insurance situation.
I think that's really we're getting ready to have another huge wave as the Medicare changes happen, Medicaid changes from the big, beautiful bill. And that's already has started to have significant ramifications on the emergency rooms, which are already overburdened. And it's going to be even worse, at the end of the year. So, we're talking about a homeless population as an example who's going to have to provide 80 hours of proof of part-time work before they can be treated for anything other than urgent, immediate care. So we're going to have a lot of people because of that who are going to lose their Medicaid, who are not going to be able to get any kind of preventative care. They're going to have to wait until they have a significant problem to come in. And that's going to be a tsunami in the urban emergency rooms, many emergency rooms.
Man, it's it feels bleak when we talk about it like that. It just does feel a little bleak.
Well, it's easy for us to pretend. For those of us, I'm very fortunate. I have Writers Guild insurance. It's excellent insurance. We're away from it. For many people, they don't see it. They don't really have to do it. But for a huge portion, tens of millions of people in the country, this is how they have to get their medical care. And we're trying to, just show it. We're trying not to comment on it. We're trying not to have our people do any more than just try and deal with this wave that comes in every day. Every day you go to work and there's never going to be a moment when you look out into the waiting room and see that it's empty. And there's never going to be a moment when the emergency room is empty where you can take a breath. That's just what you do. You show up and you do that all day long.
I think when I was talking to Scott about it, he was saying just writing with honesty and then just getting it out there.
And that's what mostly when we're doing notes on things, when they come in, it's just, is this you, the writer, or did you hear this? Where did you hear this? Is this a fact? Is this opinion?
Interesting.
And those are the notes in the scripts.
Okay.
And if the writer can't justify it from somebody that they heard it from or can actually show us the factual representation of it, then it gets cut.
Do you spend much time on set yourself?
When I'm directing, I spend a significant amount of time, but no, not on a day-to-day basis. It's really Scott and Noah who are there every day, and Joe and everybody who does it. I read all the scripts. I do notes on the scripts. I try to direct to be very helpful in post, but I'm living up to my pledge of not writing another moment of medical show.
Do you have a hat that you prefer? What's your favorite hat? Because you wear a
writer's room.
You like
writer's room is my favorite hat. I just didn't want to be in a medical writer's room again.
Okay.
I mean, I lament the death, or not death, but the end of Shameless every day, because that was the most fun in a writer's room I've ever had. Right? Yeah, that was a lot of fun. We did 11 years.
Yeah.
And that was an incredible amount of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you mentioned before we came on that you just came from the writer's room, so the Pitt's firing up, because as we shoot this, Pitt season 2 is still running, but you have wrapped your shoot. So you're gearing up for season 3. I guess it's probably too early to ask what might be on the horizon.
It's too early to ask. It's literally day 4, or day 5.
What's the vibe in the writers' room? Are people excited to be back?
Yeah, excitement. Yep. And there's so much going on. There's so much material from the research coming in.
Yeah.
The excitement to kind of write about it again. I wish that I could say that there wasn't anything to write about.
Yeah.
I wish that I could say that we'd solved these problems in urban healthcare.
And now we're going to do a fun medical sitcom.
And now we're going to do something different, but we haven't.
Yeah.
And it's getting worse, not getting better, as we underfund and continue to underfund. So, I wish that weren't the case. I wish there was something we didn't have anything to write about.
Are you surprised at the success of the Pitt?
Sure.
Yeah? Yeah?
Yeah, I'm always surprised when something becomes successful, and really surprised when it becomes successful and talked about in the environment that we're in now, just the media environment, that there seems to be engagement and people are invested in it and really care about the characters and talk about it and all
Genuinely.
that.
I was talking to someone the other day who was incredibly excited to the fact that, Thursday night I get to sit down and I've got an episode of The Pitt to watch. And that was a decision, obviously, to release it week by week, was it? Or
that's HBO.
Okay,
and HBO Max. I like to do shows. I mean, occasionally they'll drop something in all of them, but no, they're week to week, and they believe, and I agree with them, that by doing it week to week, there's a moment at which everybody during that week who's following the show can have seen it, so you can talk about it.
Yeah,
you can wait. I think that audiences want to have a show that's their show.
Yeah.
I think they want to have a show they can talk about with other people who are interested in that same show. It's a bit of a truism now, but so many shows you watch or I watch, and I go in and say, "Hey, have you seen?" And somebody will say, like, "I'm only on episode 2. Don't tell me anything that comes up. Don't spoil it for me." So you can't actually really have a conversation. Whereas this thing with HBO, the way that HBO does it, which sounds remarkably unique, but was what television was from like 1948, I guess. When the first televisions came on, it was a weekly thing. I think that people want to have a show that they can invest in, that they invest in the characters, they want to see it again, they look forward to it, and that builds the zeitgeist, that builds the momentum for the show. So like on The Pitt, every week through the first season, there were more viewers the next week. Because somebody went in and said, "I saw the show I liked." Somebody caught up on it. Then they came in, they watched it the next week, right? So, and it wasn't just that they were only watching episode 4 because somebody told them. No, they went back to episode 1. They watched 1, 2, 3, 4, caught up so they could talk and be part of the conversation.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big part of, how shows ultimately gather steam. We did a show that I'm really proud of and was well received for Netflix called Made, which was very well received. But it all dropped in October, and kind of the conversation about it was sort of over by the end of November.
Interesting.
Because everybody who was going to see it had seen it, and a lot of people saw it. But it wasn't, it didn't build. And in that kind of a show, when we had a very specific set of issues that we were hoping that people would be entertained, but they would also be interested in what we were talking about, the issues that we were talking about. It's hard in that situation to then use the momentum from that to get other kind of change to happen.
Gotcha.
I mean, so those are the pluses and the minuses in the binge model of just dropping everything at once.
I must admit, I'm guilty of it. I've binged a lot of shows, but I've really enjoyed the anticipation of looking forward to the next episode. I've been lucky to see ahead of some people. We've still got a couple that I'm waiting to get.
But we're not finished. Actually, I'm actually leaving this to go do the final sound mix on the final episode of the season. Okay. So we're not actually done, even though we've started the writer's room.
I hear remarkable things. things, and I can't wait to see the end of it, because I do hear that it really does end quite the crescendo, and I wouldn't be surprised again if you have another award season ahead of you.
We just make the shows. I mean, I really don't want to try and sound falsely modest, but you can't really think about that.
Yeah,
you just look at the material, go with the writers, hire some good actors, and hope that the audience responds to it. And then if that leads to, awards, that's great. But we don't spend any time thinking about like, well, this is going to be the show that's going to, get an award for this actor. We don't spend any time with that. It's just the stories, make the show.
How do you, I mean, you obviously pitched this show a long, long time ago, but how do you pitch it to people that haven't seen it? Because there are some that still haven't seen it. And I was talking to a friend the other day, and I was trying to explain it, because I'm like, you're going to love this show. You have to watch this show. How do you explain it in a quick way?
It's what I kind of mentioned to you earlier, which is the next time you're in an emergency room and you're frustrated because you're having to wait a long time, this is the show that'll tell you why you're having to wait a long time.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. In your own personal life, what do you do that's aside from entertainment and storytelling and this remarkable career that you've done? Was it over 600 hours of television now? What are you up to now?
Oh, no, it's like 1,200 or something.
1,200, okay. So it's got to be...
It was over 1,000 a while ago.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah. So it's harder to amass now when you're doing 6 and 8 episodes at a time. So the 15 is actually a real drop into that bucket.
Yeah, it really adds up, doesn't it? Well, actually, before I get to that, how do you keep a track of everything? Because you have so many things on the go, like on the boil at any given time.
I just work with a lot of really talented people.
Is that what it is?
And truthfully, if I was only doing one thing, a lot of those people would go off to do other things.
Yep.
Because I don't, so we rotate when we have things that they're interested in, we move people into other shows, and I do the other shows. And so, yeah.
Okay. And you've got, is it Untamed?
Untamed season 2 is shooting right now. We started about a week ago on the big island of Hawaii.
You like it over there, it seems.
I've been over there a lot.
Have you?
Yeah. And then we have a show called Unaccustomed Earth, which is based on a Jhumpa Lahiri set of short stories for Netflix that we just finished in New York.
Got you.
So, yeah.
So there's no shortage of stories
There's
to tell.
Stuff going on.
So back to that earlier question, what do you do personally outside of, I'm creating stories, working on your house?
Well, I'm a kid from Colorado. I grew up in Colorado, my wife and I both, and we have 2 now grown kids, and we just like to be in the outdoors. So a lot of hiking, skiing, bike riding, know.
Okay.
Go home a lot whenever I can. Get into the mountains.
Get into the mountains, get some fresh air. Good stuff. Last question, do you ever feel like stopping doing what you're doing?
I'm very fortunate, which is I just tell stories. So if I stopped actually doing them this way, I would just be telling them some other way.
Yeah.
Boring people at dinner probably more likely than anything else.
I highly doubt that.
but yeah, I mean, as long as people are interested in the stories that we're trying to tell, and I have people who want to work with me, I'll keep doing it. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for obviously coming and sitting and chatting, but also thank you for all the incredible stories that you've told over the years. It's really remarkable.
It's just a bunch of great people to get to work with who have some stories to tell.
Good on you, John. Thanks, man.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Pleasure.